Today's video is all about these painted canvas shoes, and I am so excited to share it with you. It was so super easy. I'm going to link everything down in the description box below, so make sure you check it out for all of the supplies. You can use any canvas shoes that you want. I got these from Academy because they were cheap, and I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to turn out, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money. So I bought them from Academy. I don't necessarily love the style, but they're fine. They fit fine. They're actually decent. I've been wearing them everywhere just to see how they hold up. And you could also check out like your local Walmart. Mine didn't have any, but I saw that like other places had some pretty inexpensive canvas shoes. Or you can spend more money and get, you know, the Keds or whatever you want. Amazon. I'll link a few options down in the description box below. For this tutorial, I am using the CrystaLac Flippin' Awesome paints, which is what I use to make my tumblers and do any furniture, wood projects, and now shoes. So if you guys want to see me use different paints, like I have some neons I want to try out, let me know in the comments below if you would like to see another shoe tutorial. So let's get going. I'm going to show you how to do it, and when I'm done with the step-by-step, I'm going to talk about how they're holding up. So I decided to tape off all of the parts of the shoe that I did not want any paint on. So all the way around, I put some just tiny pieces of tape because I am very messy. And I knew that even if I was trying my absolute best, I was going to get paint where I didn't want it. So if you're really good and careful, you might not need to tape it off, but I did. And I even taped off that front portion as well as behind all of the little metal claspy thingies and on the tongue. I just knew that I would get it everywhere if I didn't tape it off. So this took just a couple minutes, and I feel like it's worth it just to be sure that you don't get paint where you don't want it. The other thing that I did was fill the shoe with some paper towel just to give it a little more structure and make it a little easier to paint. I think it helped just to help me have more control. So once it was all taped off, I went in to get my paint. I used the Misty Mauve, Peaches and Cream, and Rosy Beige, which are the CrystaLac Flippin' Awesome paints. What I do recommend is, one, shaking them up really well, and then putting them in like a separate little container. It just helps to be able to dip your brush and then paint on from that container. Again, you want to make sure that you shake them up really well before you use them. So I'm just using like a random brush that I had and painting on my first color. Again, I'm doing 3 colors, so I'm breaking this up into thirds. So you do use, I feel like, quite a bit of paint, but you just want to make sure that you get full coverage. And then I'm just like eyeballing on the inside and the outside of the shoe so that I know that they're lined up, right? We don't want any like lopsided designs here. I wanted them to be very even as to where the first color ends and the second color begins. So I painted all of the brown, and then I went in with my peaches and cream. I should say beige. And then this like ivory peaches and cream. So I figured out that I wanted it to go where I wanted it to go. I got it there, and then I brought in my peaches and cream close to the beige color, and I overlapped them just a little bit. And then I grabbed my paintbrush, my other paintbrush, dipped it in the beige, and kind of started where the beige is and brought it into the cream color. And then I switched my brushes again and kind of did the same thing. So I'm going to switch back to my peaches and cream, dip it in the paint, and then start with the cream and bring it back towards the beige. And this just helps it blend. They blend pretty easily, but I will say that it does take a little practice, but if you've been doing this on tumblers, it shouldn't be too difficult. Now, I just repeat the exact same process on the other side, and I clean my brushes before I moved on to the other side, because when you blend them, this like brush that you're using with the peach will get some of the beige on it. So again, just start, and then you kind of like bring one color into your second color, and then grab your second color, go back towards the first color type situation. And then I repeated that with this Misty Mauve that mauve, whatever, however you say it. And I did the exact same thing. So I didn't prep the shoe anything special. I just literally put paint on it. I did absolutely nothing special. And I decided to paint over like the metal parts where the laces go through, but you could take those off or not paint on them. Be careful. Like, it's totally up to you. I was just like not trying to do all that on my first pair. So once I got the both sides done, all three colors on and blended, I let it dry for a couple hours. I think I waited, I don't know, I think just a couple hours, but I would say that 4 hours is probably a good rule of thumb. And then I went in with a second coat. So you don't need to worry too much about your blending with your first coat because you're gonna probably need a second coat. So I just did the exact same thing, and I'm just gonna show you me blending it one more time just to kind of hammer it in how it works. So again, I'm just kind of bringing my paints in towards each other, dipping in new paint before I get in there. So it works really well. And then before I wore these shoes, I waited a couple of days before I put them on. If you needed a third coat, I would just let this coat dry again for about 4 hours and then go in with a third coat. I had really good coverage after 2. I had decent coverage after 1. I just did a second coat just to be extra careful. All right, so I made these shoes like 3 weeks ago, and I've been wearing them as much as I can. If I'm being completely honest, I don't leave the house very often, but when I do, I wear the shoes just because I wanted to see how they held up. Now, I know that's not like a super long-term test, but it's been a few weeks, and they're holding up great. I have worn them like in questionable weather and got them a little dirty to see how they hold up, and they're doing phenomenal. The paint is still the same, and it even got a little dirt on it. I just took like a wet rag and wiped it off, and the dirt came out, and the paint looks great. So I just wanted to let you know that they're holding up super strong. I did not seal them with anything. I just used the Flippin' Awesome paints. I did the 2 coats, let it dry, and that was it. You may want to add some like clear spray paint, maybe, if you feel like you really love the design, but for now, what I think is just leave it. They're going real strong. So I'm not going to seal them, and on future shoes, if I use the Flippin' Awesome paints, I don't think I'm going to seal them. Now, I can keep you guys posted with even more time passes, but so far so good. I really like them. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see any different styles of canvas shoes, and I'll be happy to make a tutorial.